During the Orange Click Barcamp event in Lisbon, we had an opportunity to interview Matteo, an attendee of the event who manages a large Amazon business with a team of 50 people and incorporates artificial intelligence, AI, and various different software tools running his business. In this video, you will learn his personal experience with scaling a business and valuable tips for beginner Amazon sellers. So Matteo is an Amazon seller, and I heard very good feedback after his session. Matteo, what did you share in your breakout room?
We share a lot. So we've been 3xing every year for 3 years, and I shared the 14 points that I distilled of the things that we did that helped us get us where we are now.
I saw like 40 people in the room, and when people came out, I said, "How was it?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I made a lot of notes." What would be your tip, like one reveal from your session?
I like the quote from Peter Drucker. He said, culture is strategy for breakfast, and creating a great culture, a place that people really want to work for, a place that you truly care about the employees. You're not just doing it because you want to make money and everything. That creates, and then hiring the persons with the right values. So you define your values, you hire the people with the right values, and then people want to work for you, the people don't want to leave. We had 3 people quit in 3 years, and that's the game changer, because the team is everything, and then that's how the company is growing, through the work of the team, you know.
So you have 50 people in your team. What tools are essential for you, which you couldn't imagine to kind of cancel by tomorrow?
I would say the biggest tool we use is Slack. I love the Slack and Slack discussions in threads. We use ClickUp as well to organize SOPs, processes, and all that stuff, which I love as well. We use so much stuff, it's crazy. But one of the biggest things we found out, we're actually doing a lot of custom software now, is way cheaper than I thought. So initially, it's simple software, so it's not like it can't be used by others, it's only used by us. But I think a lot of sellers could do some small little software, sometimes even in Excel, there's people that do, to organize information and to create something that is custom for you to help your business and your process works better. So for us, that has helped tremendously free up our team, improve our processes, automate stuff, and get people to work more in the stuff that they love, that has more creativity, and let the programs do the stuff that is repetitive and you know, day in, day out, that in the end is a little bit of a brain killer as well if they're doing too much repetitive stuff. So I think it's really great at some point to invest in that. What I advise in my talk is to hire low-level programmers. So my programmers, they're actually beginners programmers, but you'll be surprised the amount of stuff a beginner programmer can optimize and improve and automate in a business.
Yeah, wow. And the ClickUp, yeah, we also use in Orange Click. I couldn't live without it. And what is the latest discovery in your business which you applied in Amazon Business?
Well, the latest was this that I said. So I hired 2 developers. It was April 2022. I had tried it before, 6 years before. I hired a developer. I failed. Didn't manage to automate. I think there's more places to grab information. It's easier nowadays than it used to be for us to like getting APIs. We get information from Keepa API and everything. And that was a game changer. So for example, from October to November, we doubled. And we doubled because we had a software that is creating a lot of the recommendations of what the team should do automatically. And one thing that I realized is that even if I had to fail for 10 years to learn how to hire programmers and make them do worthwhile things is a skill that one has to develop for the next 10 years, because the amount of data in the world is just increasing. And I think to hope to do every decision manually by humans is just not going to be possible. You see ChatGPT now, how it blew up. And I think every business should be thinking, how can I add technology? How can I save time or increase creativity or increase output with technology? I think that's the biggest thing almost every business owner should be thinking for the next 10 years to learn to do.
Okay, you triggered. So how do you use AI in your business?
We actually use a little bit of AI to build listings. So in our case, we do arbitrage. So we don't create really, really amazing listings because, you know, it's just selling products that the customers already want, and we just make it available for them. we use a bit of ChatGPT for creating listings and improving some of these things. But the biggest thing now, we hired an IT company that is working with our IT team to bring in artificial intelligence actually for the decision making of which products we're going to buy. So our software is based on business rules. So we created the rules of what we want to buy. And now we're going to play the artificial intelligence against our software and see who wins to keep improving on the decision of what we buy.
Oh, that's amazing. So what's your plan for 2023 and beyond?
So 2023, the biggest thing is diversification, as I said. So that's the number one, because with diversification, I'm going to ensure that the company can survive for the next 10 or 20 years. If I only depend on Amazon, we could have like a moment that we don't survive anymore. And the second biggest thing is the artificial intelligence. So it's not the same as ChatGPT because that's more of a text-based artificial intelligence. Ours is more of a ROI and that kind of artificial intelligence. But I think it's going to be a game changer. We'll see now. And then the other thing is we are creating our own data center where we grab a lot of information from the web of products, and the artificial intelligence is going to analyze that and is going to output for our research team to go and buy the products. And we're hoping that will give us the capability to 10x quicker than we 10x'd in the last few years.
So we have some sponsors in the Barcamp event, PPC agency, Getida Reimbursements, tax company, and exit company. Are you using similar services in your business already?
We actually used Getida for a long time. I don't know, 7 years or something like that. Yeah.
Is it so long? Is it so old? 7 years? Wow.
Maybe 6, but pretty long. We were referred from an Amazon consultant many years ago, and I think it's a great service because it was really difficult for our team and it was time consuming to figure out. They have their own tools, to find things. We were advised, I don't know whether my team did it or not recently, because I don't actually do any of the work anymore. I just bring in the ideas and the team executes. But we were advised to audit the work once in a while with another service even to try to find more reimbursements. It's free money, so you should definitely go for it. But we still use Getida and all the time, and yeah, I think it's a great service.
Cool. And what was your biggest failure in this 3-4 years journey?
I have so many, it's in 2018 I wasn't even sure I wanted to continue this business because I got suspended. I got almost suspended. It was super annoying with account health with Amazon. Now we have a person dedicated to it. I would say the biggest failure is related to the thing I was commenting before, is that I hired a developer. It seemed like a failure for a long time, but then it wasn't. So I hired a developer. I was paying him $5,000 per month for about 10 months. The software, we were trying to automate our decision making, which we have now. We failed. It wasn't really giving the results we wanted. We stopped. So I spent 50,000 euros, and I was like, wow, that hurt, But then 6 years later, I said, I'm going to try this again. I have to figure out how to do this, even if I continue failing. And so I hired these 2 developers, and we created, they were cheaper because now with my wife's recruiting service, we know how to find people cheaper. And so it was a lot cheaper. It took us about 4 or 5 months, and then we got the software, and that helps us scale in a completely different level. So often, I believe that many of our failures, they're just lessons. You learn from them, and you don't know when you're going to use that lesson. Sometimes it's right away. Sometimes it happened to me 6 years later. And the thing that seemed to be my most expensive failure, 50,000 euros, has now made me hundreds and hundreds of thousands more. So you never know where it's going to take you,
So 2 times you mentioned a service which helped you to scale. Can you tell the name and how do they help e-commerce sellers?
My wife has a recruiting agency called Udalena. I had this problem. I was hiring in the Philippines in the beginning. And the problem in the Philippines is that they work at night, which I don't think A players are that willing to work at night. They're from a very different culture, and for Western can be a little bit harder to manage and get what you want from it. And the other thing is so you can get people in the same time zone. Without a recruiting agency, you don't have the patience necessary to go through the amount of people you need to go to really get those gems, right? And so she took top-level books like Who and Top Grading. Those are top-level books about hiring, top courses on how to hire. And then she put that for a company hiring remote, which, companies that hire non-remote might be doing really, really great stuff. But to hire remote, there's not many companies doing that. And so that allowed better quality employees to get in front of us. But what I think a lot of people don't understand is that a recruiting agency helps a lot. So that was a big secret. But there's still a lot of work for the company to do. You have to define the role really well. You have to do the last selection really well. You still need to make the choice. And you need to create a good work environment that people want to stay and don't leave you. But yeah, her service really, really helps us a lot, and now helps many other companies to grow as well by hiring great people. And just to have an idea, our head of operations was the head of supply chain for IKEA. She was in Toyota for like 5 or 10 years. Then we have a guy from KPMG, a woman from Japan Tobacco. Like, we have from like a lot of multinationals. We have really, really great people. And we could not get people like that before. And a recruiting agency makes you more serious. And they really go through those 200, 300 applicants to really get those gems for you. And people is everything. A business is built by people. Even when you have technology is built by people. It doesn't build itself. So you need great people to grow.
Yeah, thanks for this tip. You will find the link to this service in the description. So let's go back again to your big team, 50 people. At what stage you decide to hire more people? Like, how does it work when I know that some advice that you hire people before you need them, or what's your thinking about this?
I actually think it's a great advice to hire people before you need them, but it's difficult to generalize because people are such different levels, right? So for example, if you have no profits to hire someone, you first need to build that specific knowledge that allows you to have enough profits. And then, but depending where you are, so at a certain stage, I was hiring people that didn't have the skill that I could train, because that's cheaper. It's slower because you have to hire the person, you have to train them, but it's cheaper. And then when you have a certain speed of growth and you have a bit more budget, it's better to hire people already with the skill, still with the culture value and the mindset, but already with the skill, it helps you. You don't have to train them from the ground up. Then when you get to another level, which we're getting now, it's better to hire people that know how to do their job. Henry Ford said like about being the most stupid person in the room or something like that. And I think that's not true when you're at the beginning, because you can't afford those people yet. But when the business is a certain size, so for example, for us, the head of departments, I want them to know their part of the business way better than me. So I'm the stupid person in the room, but it's relative because they know more about their department. Like the finance guy, he knows 10 times more than finance than me, but I still need to know as a business owner what direction I want him to go to, right? So hiring people before you need them, I think is very, very important. Also, the other thing we have is that we have an Excel where we project our sales and everything from our plan of the year. Then we count how long does it take on average to find each kind of role. We count how long does it take average to train, how many people leave on average in how long, because we only had 3% quit, but we do fire some people in the training stage. And then so we make a plan on when do we need to start hiring each role based on our projections of how much we're going to grow. And the other thing I do suggest that we do, especially if you have the budget, is that I suggest every team to work only at 90% capacity. So a lot of people want their team to be working really hard. I want my team not to be working really hard. I want them to have bandwidth to when we have space to grow, they're right there and they have work to grow. And when they have less work, what they do is that they focus on processes, they focus on improving the company, and then there's a lot of work they focus on getting stuff done. And this allows us, for example, from October to November, we doubled, but we didn't hire any new people, or we hired 2 new people out of we were 30 then. But we managed to double because people had that leeway of capacity. If you always at top capacity, you're going to end up burning out your team.
Wow, thank you. I think those who didn't go to your session didn't miss anything. We got all the information already. So the last question, if some beginner who doesn't have any Amazon business, he's inspired to start and build also strong team and strong company, what would be your advice, maybe where to start, which marketplace, if it's an Amazon FBA seller?
So I don't believe in macro answers like that you should do this or that. I think each person needs to find what works for them and their skills, what are they good at, And then the first thing somebody has to do is search for that specific knowledge. There's a talk that I completely advise from Naval Ravikant on YouTube. You put how to get rich without getting lucky. And he talks about specific knowledge is knowledge that cannot be taught. And because if it can be taught, it becomes a commodity, it's not that valuable anymore, right? So the first thing you need to do is find specific knowledge. So for example, I know how to find, buy and sell products internationally with margin. I've learned that actually through first buying stuff for myself when I didn't have enough money to buy some things. I was just searching the web and I was finding it cheaper. Sometimes I was owning it for a year and then I was reselling it, and that created that specific knowledge for me. So other people might have other specific knowledge. Sometimes some people know a lot about the customer, understanding the customer, their mind. Some people know a lot about, I don't know, software. Some people know about create advertising, PPC. And so you really have to go go deeper into where your interest takes you, because I think when you love something and you're interested about it, you're gonna become better and better and better with time. If you just do something because people tell you to, or because that's where the money is, you're just not gonna be a great player there, right? But if you have no interest, which happens with some people at the beginning, then you need to do something, whatever, to figure out what your interests are. So you need to try a lot of different things. But if you already have an interest, go deeper in there. Amazon US is great because it's a really big marketplace. But the truth is, there could be a niche, for example, on Allegro in Poland, especially if you're Polish, for example, there's a language barrier for all the other non-Polish. So maybe you might find a niche that just say, hey, there's this product that's really big in the US, nobody's selling it in Poland, and I could create this product in Poland and make it available for people that are in Allegro. And so that could be a niche, for example. So sometimes you can go to a small marketplace and make a killing there. I heard of a company, for example, that is doing Bol in Holland, and it's only 60 million visits per month, which for a marketplace is not that big. And they're as big as many other companies that are doing Amazon.com.
And Bol is a marketplace specifically in Netherlands, BOL.
BOL.com. And Allegro is one specifically for Poland. And I heard there's about 50 in Europe. I actually don't know them all. These are two of some of the biggest. But it's always about, again, specific knowledge is about, I found a product that is good on this niche. Sometimes the niche, let's say the marketplace, the niche is small, but it's still a big opportunity. Sometimes the niche is in a bigger place, bigger market, that it still can be a big opportunity. And the other thing that I think is very important, you should go to a niche that is small enough that for your skill level is good. For example, don't go to Bluetooth headphones if you're a beginner, because Bluetooth headphones is really, really hard. It's a big market, but it's really, really hard to enter. So go to something smaller, go to something that matches your skill level, and then improve your skill level, and then get bigger and bigger fights along the way, right? So that's how I started. That's where many people start. If you just go with the sharks, you're gonna get eaten if you go from the beginning there.
Can you give us an overview? Your business is selling in what kind of marketplaces, what countries?
So we focused on Amazon in the beginning just to diminish the complexity. But I think at some point, Amazon is a great place to sell at, but we all know there's risks, getting suspended, competition, and this and that. And so it's very important to diversify. So we went into Walmart. A lot of people avoid Walmart because it's smaller, it's true. And it's a bit of a headache, which is also true, but at the same time builds diversification. So for us, this year is the year of diversification. As we grown, we want to create a business that can survive without Amazon. That's the biggest goal this year. And so we're growing on Walmart a lot. We're getting to Allegro in Poland, has 200 million visits a month. We get into Bol in Holland, Rakuten in Japan, and the idea is to create that diversification. So I think that's a big tip. But I think it's normal at a certain size to focus first on one marketplace, get that working really, really well. And then when you reach a certain level, diversification, I think is extremely important.
And you're a seller, you don't provide any services. What was your motivation to share your experience?
I think great businesses, especially if you create a great culture, my mission is to grow the business so much I can employ more people, give them flexible work, remote work in a beautiful place to work in that helps flourish what they're great at. So we try to focus on people's unique ability, right? So my purpose is being executed through this business, but if other businesses can improve their culture, can improve their work environment, that will create better lives for more people, which then would affect their families. And I think that's a little bit how you change the world, one employee at a time, let's say.
Yeah, it's amazing. So You already kind of shared your experience. What other sessions you are looking forward to attend? Because it looks like you have a lot of experience. Like, where do you want to gain more information?
So we had a great session about teams, which in the end falls in the same subject, see where people are. I'm always eager to learn, what are people doing that maybe I haven't thought about, what are techniques, strategies, and things like that. And so we had a great discussion with other people about that. My wife is going to talk about recruiting, then I'm going to go as well, because actually they recruit for us. We also do a part of the recruiting ourselves, but I don't even know some of the techniques they do, and so I can still learn from them and see if there are any things that we can improve. And then I just talk randomly with sellers and see, some things, there's a little bit of serendipity in these events. You don't know, serendipity is like by chance. You don't know what's gonna come. You talk to someone and you learn something new. I was in the Berlin event. I got a couple of really good contacts from there of services that I needed that I didn't know existed, and that always adds up. A business is just, I always say, is a giant ball of problems, and basically you're just solving problems every time a little better, and that compounds and creates the velocity of a business to grow. So that's what I'm here for.
Cool, amazing. Out of expected 4 minutes interview, we have really good, valuable information for 20 minutes. Thank you very much, Matteo, and enjoy the event.
Welcome. Thank you for organizing the event. It's been learning and meeting some great people, so awesome.
I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And finally, don't forget to click like and subscribe buttons to get more content like we do in your YouTube feed. And now I recommend you to watch other video where Lisette Lys interviews Chris Rawlings. He shares some secrets or some really good PPC tips, and they talked about this in the Sell and Scale Summit by Helium 10. Check this out.